At my PhD graduation party, my father cornered me by the drinks. Mark held a cheap glass of champagne. His smile was all wrong. It was smug. "Elena, we have news," he said. "We sold your silly drug research patent for $20,000. My mother, Sarah, and my older sister, Olivia, watched from across the room. They were giddy. They were waiting for me to cry. They expected me to have a hysterical breakdown in front of my professors. My hands were steady. I did not shake. I calmly checked my watch. 9:15 p.m. I said, "You're about 6 hours too late." My father's smile faltered. "What are you talking about?" "He doesn't know. He has no idea. They think they just betrayed me. They think they just stole my life's work. They don't know I've been setting this trap for 2 years. They don't know they just sold Project Alpha. It was the decoy. It was the worthless algorithm I let them find. They don't know I filed the real patent, Project Omega, this morning at 9 a.m. It was filed under a new LLC they have never heard of. They just used a fraudulent power of attorney to sell a worthless, outdated algorithm to a competitor. They just committed fraud for nothing. I am Dr. Elena Reed. I am 28 years old, and I just watched my family destroy themselves. Growing up, I was the anomaly. My parents, Mark and Sarah, were obsessed with appearances. They were social climbers in a small suburban town. They valued one thing, the perception of success. My older sister, Olivia, was their masterpiece. Olivia was pretty. Olivia was popular. Olivia was the center of their universe. I was different. While Olivia was at prom, I was in the garage. I was building a DNA sequencer out of spare computer parts. My parents were horrified. "Mark, she's making a mess again," my mother would yell. "Elena, why can't you be normal? Go to the mall with your sister." My sister, Olivia, learned early that she didn't need to be smart. She just needed to be seen. Every family dinner was a performance of her social conquests. My parents hung on her every word. Meanwhile, my science fair trophies were hidden in my closet. Nobody wants to hear about genetic markers at dinner. "Elena," my father would say. "Olivia, tell us about the cotillion." The first major betrayal came when I was 17. I had a college fund. It was $15,000. My grandmother had left it for me. I had worked and saved another $5,000. I was going to Stanford. My parents sat me down in the living room. They looked concerned. "Elena, we need to talk about your college fund." My mother started. "It's Olivia," my father said. "She's been accepted to a wonderful finishing school in Switzerland. It's a huge opportunity for her to meet the right people." I already knew where this was going. How much I asked? "Just $15,000. My mother said. "You're so smart. Elena, you'll get scholarships. We know you'll understand. This is for your sister's future." They didn't ask me. They told me. They took my grandmother's money. They took my college fund. And they gave it to Olivia, so she could learn how to curtsy. I got a full scholarship to Stanford. I took out loans for my living expenses. I worked 3 jobs. I never asked them for another dollar. The second betrayal was the one that sealed their fate. It was my junior year at Stanford. I was in a bad car accident. A drunk driver ran a red light. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I had a shattered femur and a concussion. My parents flew out. They were a picture of loving concern. They brought a stack of insurance papers. "The hospital needs these signed." "Sweetheart," my mother said. Her voice was syrupy. "It's just procedures. For your surgery." I was on heavy painkillers. The room was spinning. I couldn't even read the text. I just signed where my father pointed. He signed page after page. One of those pages was a broad, durable power of attorney. It gave them sweeping control over my financial and legal affairs. I didn't find it until 6 months later. I was back at Stanford. I was going through my files. I saw the document. My blood ran cold. I called them immediately. "What is this?" I demanded. "Why did you have me sign a POA?" My father laughed. That hollow, dismissive laugh. Oh, that it was just a precaution. Elena, the hospital lawyers insisted. In case. You know, you were in bad shape. I want it revoked. I said. Send me the original. I'm tearing it up. Don't be dramatic. My mother cut in. We probably threw it out. It's just a piece of paper. Families are built on trust. Honey. They were lying. I knew they were lying. They kept it. They kept it as a weapon. They were waiting to use it, just like they used my college fund. That night, I made a decision. I could not fight them legally. I had no money for lawyers. They would just lie. They would play the victim. So I would have to be smarter. If they wanted something to steal, I would give it to them. I was working on my thesis, a new algorithm for mapping genetic markers. It could predict rare hereditary diseases. It was revolutionary. I called it Project Omega. That night, I created Project Alpha. Alpha was a decoy. It was my old research. It was a basic, outdated regression model. It barely worked. It was impressive on the surface, but it was a dead end. Omega was the real breakthrough. It used quantum modeling. It was a paradigm shift. I built a new, secure server for Omega. I wiped all traces of it from my personal laptop. Then, I loaded my old laptop with Project Alpha. I put folders on the desktop. I labeled them confidential and patent pending. The next time I visited home, I accidentally left that laptop in my old bedroom. 2 weeks later, my mother called. Elena. Honey, you left your old computer here. And I was cleaning. And it turned on. Elena. This patent. It looks very important. Her voice was trembling with fake concern. She wasn't concerned. She was greedy. Oh. Mom. Please. I don't look at that. I said. I injected fake panic into my voice. It's a new project. It's probably worth about $20,000 or $30,000. I set the bait. A small, believable number. Enough to tempt them. Not enough to make them suspicious. Oh. My. She said. Well, don't worry. It's safe here. For the next 2 years, I played the part. I finished my PhD. I filed the real patent for Project Omega. I did it through a new LLC. It was registered in Delaware. My name was buried in the incorporation documents. All the while, I knew they were shopping Project Alpha. My old mentor, Professor Evans, had connections. He told me a mid-level biotech firm, Biocorp, was sniffing around my old research. They were known for being lazy. They bought patents cheap. They didn't do their due diligence. They were the perfect marks. Which brings us back to my graduation party. My father is staring at me. His smug expression is gone. It's replaced by confusion. What do you mean? Too late. My mother and Olivia are walking over. Their party smiles are frozen on their faces. What's going on? Mark, my mother asks. You sold Project Alpha. I say clearly. You sold my old, outdated research. The research I left on that laptop 2 years ago. Olivia snorts. What are you talking about, Dad? Sold your patent. We got $20,000 for it. Yes. You did. I say. I pull my phone from my purse. I open my email. At 3:07 p.m. today. You signed a contract with Biocorp. You used a fraudulent power of attorney. A document I tried to revoke 2 years ago. The one you lost. My father's face goes pale. How did you? At 9 a.m. this morning. I continue. I filed the real patent. Project Omega. It's valued. In its seed phase. At $50 million. Not 20,000. I turn to my father. You sold a decoy. And at 9:01 a.m., my lawyer filed a legal revocation of that power of attorney. It is now void. You just committed wire fraud for nothing. My mother's champagne glass slips from her hand. It shatters on the patio. And here, I say, is the best part. I hold up my phone. I show them an email. This is from Biocorp's legal department. They just received my real research paper. The one that proves Project Alpha is a worthless, obsolete model. They are not happy. They are voiding the sale, and they are planning to sue you, personally, for fraud and misrepresentation. Olivia starts to cry. Not quiet tears. Loud, ugly sobs. My startup, she wails. Mom, you said we had the money. You said Elena's stupid computers would pay for it. My mother just stares at me. Her face is a mask of pure hatred. You tricked us. She whispers. You tried to steal from me. I say, again, you stole my college fund for her finishing school. You used my car accident. You lied to me for years. You valued Olivia's lifestyle blog over my life's work. You just exposed yourselves. I snap my purse shut. Congratulations on the $20,000 you don't get to keep. And good luck with the lawsuit. I left them on the patio. My father, Mark, was pale. He was shaking with rage. You tricked us. You set us up. He yelled at my back. You'll be hearing from our lawyer. An empty threat. He had no money for a lawyer. Olivia was hysterical. She had collapsed onto a patio chair. My startup. My money, my followers. You ruined me, she screamed. She was sobbing. But they were angry. Selfish tears. I turned at the edge of the lawn. I walked back 3 steps. They stopped. My mother, Sarah, just stood there. She was silent. Her face was a mask of pure hatred. It was not sadness. It was not regret. It was the cold, hard fury of being outsmarted, of losing control. You tried to steal from me, I said. My voice was calm. It cut through the night air. You used my car accident to get a power of attorney. You stole my college fund. You lied to me for years. You valued Olivia's vanity blog over my life's work. You didn't get tricked. You got caught. I got in my car. I drove away. I didn't look back. The graduation party was over. My old life was over. That night, I called Professor Evans. He was my mentor at Stanford. He was the only person who truly knew about Project Omega. Professor, I said, Phase 1 is complete. There was a pause. They took the bait, he asked. His voice was calm. Yes, I said. Biocorp has the decoy. They signed the contract at 3 p.m. And Project Omega is secure. Filed this morning at 9 a.m. I said. The LLC is clean. The patent is pending. Good, he said. Then the trap worked. Now, the real work begins. There is someone I want you to meet. His name is Dr. Fording. Eris Thorne. He's the biggest venture capitalist in biotech. He has been waiting for your call. I sent him your paper. He's read the Omega research. He has. He's waiting. Monday, 10 a.m. Palo Alto. Don't be late. The next week, I was not in my parents' collapsing world. I was in a glass boardroom in Palo Alto. I was presenting Project Omega. Eris Thorne was not my father. He was in his 50s. He was sharp. He was focused. He did not care about social climbing or appearances. He understood the science. I didn't give him a sales pitch. I gave him the data. I spent 2 hours walking him through the quantum models. I showed him the genetic markers. I showed him the failure of Project Alpha. I showed him how it used basic regression, how it was a dead end. Then I showed him Project Omega. Project Alpha looks for patterns. I explained. Project Omega looks for the source of the patterns. It's a predictive model with 99% accuracy for rare neurological diseases. Eris just stared at the data. He was silent for a full minute. He didn't look at me. He looked at the numbers. This is not an algorithm, he said finally. This is a new field of medicine. You've mapped a predictive model that no one else has even come close to. They've been looking in the wrong place, I said. He looked up. How much do you need? he asked. $15 million. I said, for a Series A. It will get us through the first phase of clinical trials. It will cover lab space, equipment, and a core team of 10. He didn't hesitate. You'll have a term sheet by Friday. He said, welcome to the big leagues. Dr. Reed, go build your company. We formed Omega Biotherapeutics. Eris led the funding round. I was the founder and CEO. My first hire was Maya. She was my roommate from Stanford. She had a business degree from Wharton. Maya was the only one I trusted. She was the one who helped me set up the secure server for Omega. She was the one who helped me file the LLC paperwork in Delaware. CEO, she said, as we stood in our new, empty lab space. It has a nice ring to it. We have work to do, I said. We didn't rent a fancy office. We leased an old industrial lab in South San Francisco. We spent the first $1 million on servers. We spent the second $1 million on gene sequencers. We worked. I didn't hire Resume. I hired brains. I poached 2 of the lead geneticists from Biocorp itself. They were disgusted when they learned their company had tried to buy a stolen, worthless patent. They were thrilled to work on the real thing. While we were building our company, my old family was imploding. The first lawsuit hit them a week after our funding was announced. Biocorp, the company that bought Project Alpha for $20,000, their lawyers were not kind. They had realized, very quickly, that they had been sold a fraudulent, worthless, outdated algorithm. My father called me. I didn't recognize the number. I answered. Elena, you have to help us, he was yelling. He was in a panic. Who is this? I asked. It's your father, he shrieked. You have to help us. Biocorp is suing us for fraud, for misrepresentation. They want $200,000. $200,000. That was interesting. They had inflated the value. Why are you calling me? I asked. My voice was flat. You tricked us. This is your fault. You set us up, he screamed. You signed a contract. I said. You claimed to be my legal representative. You claimed the patent was valuable. You lied. That's fraud. Dad, you should get a good lawyer. We can't afford a lawyer, he shrieked. We're in debt, your sister. Olivia. Her startup failed. We took out a second mortgage to fund her. We needed that $20,000. We're ruined. There it was. The full truth. They hadn't just stolen from me to be greedy. They had stolen from me to pay for her failures. They had tried to sacrifice my real future to pay for her fake one. That sounds like your problem, I said. Not mine. Elena, I am your father, you owe me. You are a criminal who tried to steal from me. I replied, do not call this number again. I hung up. I blocked the number. They lost the lawsuit. They had no defense. The contract they signed was clear. My father had committed perjury. They had to sell the house. The house I grew up in. They had to sell it to pay the legal fees and the settlement. My father was fired from his job for ethical violations. His reputation in their small town was destroyed. Olivia's socialite friends vanished. Her lifestyle blog, which was just pictures of her spending their money, went dark. She had no skills. She had no education. She had no future. My parents and Olivia moved into a small, rented apartment across town. They were destitute. I read about it in an email from a high school acquaintance. I felt nothing. Not pity. Not joy. Just the cold, clean feeling of a problem being solved. Meanwhile, Omega Biotherapeutics was flying. We worked 18 hours a day. We slept in the lab. Maya handled the budgets. I handled the science. Then, 18 months later, we found it. The marker for pancreatic neuroendocrine tumors. The one that killed Steve Jobs. We had a predictive model. We had a path to a therapeutic. Eris Thorne was ecstatic. This is it, he said. This is the billion-dollar moment. We filed for our second phase clinical trials. The FDA fast-tracked our application. The news broke. Forbes. Nature, the Wall Street Journal, the Omega breakthrough, the 2 8-year-old doctor changing medicine. The press found my parents. They found the failed socialite. They found the ruined father. I watched the local news interview. My mother was sitting on a stained sofa. She was crying. My daughter. She stole my husband's idea. She lied. She's ungrateful. She abandoned us. We're penniless. And she won't even help us. The next day, the papers arrived. My parents were suing me for 50% of my company. The lawsuit was a masterpiece of desperation. My parents, Mark and Sarah Reed, filed a claim for 50% of Omega Biotherapeutics. Their claim: they were early-stage managers of my career. They alleged that I had stolen the foundational concepts from them. They claimed Project Omega was just a derivative of Project Alpha, the patent they had sold. It was a baseless, ridiculous attack. But it was smart. It wasn't a legal claim. It was a public relations war. The press ate it up. Biotech billionaire sued by destitute parents. The ungrateful daughter. Did a 2 8-year-old genius steal her parents' idea? My mother gave tearful interviews. She sat on the stained sofa of their rented apartment. She clutched an old photo of me from high school. We always supported her. She cried to a local news crew. We gave her the idea for her research. We were her managers. And now, she's abandoned us. She's left us with nothing. It was brilliant. It was evil. They weren't suing me. They were shaming me. They were trying to poison my reputation. They're creating a public nuisance. Milaver, Marcus said. He was sharp. He was the best IP litigator in the state. They know their legal claim is worthless. They're hoping you'll settle. They want you to pay them millions to make this embarrassment go away. Eris, I said to my lead investor, this is a PR nightmare. Is it? Eris said. He was unbothered. He was reading our latest clinical trial data. Your mother claims you stole the idea. You are a PhD in quantum genomics from Stanford. Your father was a mid-level furniture salesman. Who do you think the investment world believes? He was right. The investors didn't care. The public cared. The tabloids loved it. We are not settling. I told Marcus. We are going to court. I want them to testify. I want this to be public. Marcus smiled. Good, he said. That's what I was hoping you'd say. The legal battle lasted 8 months. It was a drain. It was a distraction. My parents' lawyer was a bottom feeder. He fielded motion after motion. He tried to depose my entire team. He tried to get our proprietary research unsealed. We blocked him at every turn. Our legal team was a fortress. Finally, the hearing date arrived. It was not a jury trial. It was a summary judgment hearing. A judge would decide if their claim had any merit. I walked into the courtroom. My parents were already there. They looked small. They were wearing cheap suits. Olivia was sitting behind them. She was wearing a black dress, as if she was at a funeral. She glared at me with pure, unadulterated hatred. My father took the stand first. Their lawyer, Mr. Haas, led him through a pathetic story. Mr. Reed, did you support your daughter's early interest in science? Oh, yes, my father said. He was trying to look sad. We bought her microscopes. We helped her with her homework. He was lying. He had actively discouraged me. And were you aware of her Project Alpha? Yes, my father said. I managed it. I helped her develop the business plan for it. Another lie. He didn't even know what a business plan was. And this new project, Omega, is it based on Alpha? It is, my father said, nodding confidently. It's the same idea. She just changed the name. She stole it. Our idea. And she cut us out. It was my lawyer's turn. Marcus stood up. He was calm. He was precise. Mr. Reed, Marcus said, you claim you were your daughter's manager. What is your educational background? I I have a business degree from a state college. In marketing, my father said. So, not in quantum genomics. Marcus said. Mr. Reed, are you familiar with the term quantum regression modeling? My father's face went blank. It's a computer thing. A computer thing, Marcus repeated. And can you explain to the court the fundamental mathematical difference between Project Alpha and Project Omega? It's the same. My father stammered. She's trying to confuse you with big words. So you can't explain it, Marcus said. Because you don't understand it. You claim to be the manager of a project you cannot even describe. My father's face turned red. She's an ungrateful child, he yelled. That is not a legal argument. Marcus said. Mr. Reed. One last question. Did you, or did you not, attempt to sell Project Alpha to Biocorp, using a fraudulent power of attorney, a document you obtained from your daughter while she was hospitalized? The room went silent. It was a misunderstanding, my father said. A misunderstanding that is currently the subject of a federal fraud investigation, Marcus asked. Objection, Mr. Haas yelled. Sustained, the judge said. But the damage was done. My father left the stand. He was a broken man. Then, I was called. I took the stand. I was not nervous. This was my world. Mr. Haas tried to paint me as cold, as calculating. Dr. Reed, you are worth, on paper, over $500 million. Is that correct? That is the company's valuation. I said, not my bank account. And your parents, who supported you, are living in a rented apartment. Is that correct? My parents are living in a rented apartment because they were sued for fraud. I said, the fraud they committed. A fraud you tricked them into, he yelled. Objection, Marcus said. Bored. Sustained. Mr. Haas. To get to the point. Mr. Haas regrouped. He was sweating. Dr. Reed, isn't it true that Project Omega is just a continuation of Project Alpha, that you built one on the other? This was the core of his case. I looked at the judge. Your Honor, I said, that is a fundamental misunderstanding of the science. Please, explain it to me, the judge said. She looked interested. Project Alpha, I said, was my undergraduate work. It used basic regression models. It was like trying to predict the weather by looking out the window. It could tell you if it was raining, but it could not tell you why. It could not tell you about the storm system 1,000 miles away. And Project Omega, the judge asked. Project Omega, I said, does not guess. It calculates. It uses quantum modeling. It doesn't just look out the window. It maps the entire global weather system. It understands the physics behind the storm. One is a bicycle. The other is a spaceship. They both have wheels. But they are not the same technology. One is obsolete. The other is a paradigm shift. I explained the math. I used the whiteboard. I showed the judge the code. I showed him the fundamental, structural differences. After an hour, I was done. The courtroom was silent. Mr. Hawes just sat down. He had no more questions. The judge looked at my parents. Then she looked at me. Dr. Reed. Thank you. That was the most cogent explanation of quantum mechanics I have ever heard. She turned to my parents' lawyer. Mr. Hawes, your client's claim is dismissed, with prejudice. This court finds that Project Omega is a novel and distinct invention. It has no legal connection to Project Alpha. The claim that these parents managed this technology is, frankly, absurd. This case is frivolous. I am awarding full legal fees to the defendant. We are done here. My mother shrieked. A high, thin sound of pure despair. Olivia burst into tears. My father just stared at his hands. I had won. I had not just won, I had annihilated them. The press, which had been so quick to condemn me, turned on them. The great deception, how failed parents tried to scam billionaire daughter. My name was cleared. Legally. Publicly. With the legal cloud gone, we went public. The IPO for Omega Biotherapeutics was the largest biotech offering in a decade. I stood on the balcony of the New York Stock Exchange. Maya was on my left. Eris Thorne was on my right. The bell rang. Our stock opened at $60 a share. By noon, it was at 90. By the time the market closed, it was at 120. Our company was valued at $1.5 billion. I was the youngest self-made female billionaire in American history. I was not the ungrateful daughter. I was the survivor. The IPO party was a blur. My team was celebrating. Maya was celebrating. Eris was celebrating. I went home. Not to my old apartment. I went to the penthouse I had bought. It was a secure building overlooking the bay. I sat on the balcony. I watched the city. I was worth, on paper, $1.5 billion. The victory felt total. But it also felt hollow. I had won. I had proven them wrong. But I had lost my entire family in the process. The next day, the work continued. We were a public company. We had new responsibilities. We had shareholders. We hired a new CFO. We opened a new research wing. We were on the cover of Forbes, Fortune, Nature, the Omega Queen, the woman who cured PNTs. A week later, the email arrived. It was from a generic Gmail account. I had blocked all their old numbers and emails, but they found a new one. The subject line read, "Please." I opened it. It was from my father. "Elena," it read, "I know you hate us. We deserve it, but we are desperate. Your mother is sick. The stress. She's not well. She cries every night. We are being evicted from our apartment. We have nothing. The legal fees from the lawsuit. They took everything. We are going to be homeless on the 1st of the month. Please. I am begging you. Meet with us. Just one last time." It was a trap. I knew it was a trap. It was another manipulation. "Your mother is sick" was a classic move. But the thought of them, homeless, it still pulled at something. I forwarded the email to Marcus. "Melavier. It's a trap." "Right." He called me 30 minutes later. 100%. He said, "They're desperate. Desperate people are dangerous. But they are also beaten. They have no legal standing. They have no money. They have no power. If you want closure, this is the time to get it. On our terms." "What do you propose?" I asked. "A final meeting," he said. "In my office. Not your home. Not a restaurant. My conference room. I'll be present. We will record the entire thing. We will make them one final offer. A settlement. In exchange for a permanent non-disclosure and non-contact agreement. An NDA." I said, "A restraining order in contractual form." He corrected. "It's ironclad. If they violate it, we sue them for breach of contract. It's cleaner than a standard RO. It's the only way you'll ever be free. What do you want to offer?" I thought for a moment. I thought about the $15,000 for the finishing school. I thought about the $20,000 for the alpha patent. The price they put on my life. I know exactly what to offer. I said, "Prepare a check." I agreed. I let Marcus send the reply. The meeting was set for the next Tuesday. I walked into the 40th floor conference room. It overlooked the city. Marcus was already there. The documents were in a neat pile on the polished table. A digital recorder was on. The receptionist brought them in. My parents, Mark and Sarah, and Olivia. They looked terrible. It had been almost a year. My father had aged a decade. He was thin. His suit was rumpled. He looked hollow-eyed. My mother. She wasn't sick. She was just defeated. The arrogant, cruel woman from the patio was gone. She looked old. She looked tired. She wouldn't look at me. And Olivia, my sister, her expensive clothes were gone. Her hair was messy. She looked at me with a dull, burning hatred. She was the one who still had fight left in her. They sat down opposite me. The table was wide. It felt like a mile. Marcus sat at the head of the table. "Thank you for coming," Marcus began. His voice was formal. "This meeting is being audio and video recorded. My client has agreed to this meeting to find a final, permanent resolution." "Elena, please," my mother whispered. Her voice was scratchy. She looked at me. "Not Marcus. We're so sorry. We made a mistake. We were stupid. We didn't know." "You didn't know?" I asked. My voice was cold. "You didn't know you were stealing. You didn't know you were using a medical POA. You didn't know you were lying." "We were stupid," she repeated. "You weren't stupid." "Mom," I said. "You were cruel. There's a difference." "We're going to be homeless," my father burst out. He was pleading. His voice was high. "Elena, I am your father. You can't let this happen. We have nowhere to go. We sleep in our car." "We're your family," Olivia spat. It was the first time she had spoken. Her voice was like venom. I looked at my sister, the golden child, the one it was all for. "This was for you." "Olivia," I said quietly, "all of it. They stole my college fund for your finishing school. They stole my patent for your startup. They ruined themselves. They tried to ruin me. For you?" I turned to her. I leaned forward. "They did all this for you. What do you have to say?" This was her moment. Her one chance. The moment to break free. The moment to show a single shred of humanity. Olivia's face hardened. She looked at me. She looked at our parents. And she made her choice. "She's right," Olivia said to my parents. Then she turned to me. Her eyes were full of fire. "You do owe us. You have billions. Billions. And you sit there in your fancy suit in your fancy office. We are your family. You're selfish. You've always been selfish. You were always locked in your room with your stupid experiments. You could fix all of this. You could give us $1 million. Just one. You wouldn't even feel it. But you'd rather watch us suffer." There it was. The final betrayal. Not from them. From her. She was not a victim. She was one of them. She was the worst of them. I felt relieved. It was a strange feeling. The last bit of attachment I had. The last thread of sisterhood. It snapped. I was free. I looked at Marcus. He nodded. "You're right," I said. "Family should support each other." I pushed a document across the table. "And a check." "What is this?" my father asked. His hands were shaking as he reached for it. "That is a non-disclosure agreement," I said. "It's an ironclad legal contract. It forbids you, your wife, and your daughter from ever contacting me again, from ever speaking my name in public again, from ever contacting my company, my board members, or my friends, from ever coming within 500 feet of my home or my office." "This is a restraining order," my mother gasped. "Yes," I said, "and that is a check, a cashier's check." My father picked it up. He looked at it. His face went through a range of emotions. Confusion, hope, and then pure, unfiltered rage. $20,000, he whispered. 20,000. "That's right," I said. "It's the exact amount you sold my patent for. It's the price you put on my life's work. I'm just giving you what you asked for." Olivia stood up. Her chair scraped back. "This is an insult," she shrieked. "This is a gift," I said. Standing up, "It is $20,000 more than you deserve. It is the last dollar you will ever get from me." "You?" "You," my father stammered. He was speechless. He was sputtering. "You? Ungrateful." "Sign the agreement," I said. My voice was final. "Or I walk out that door. You get nothing. The check is voided. And Marcus will proceed with a harassment suit against you." You will be buried in legal fees you cannot pay. You will be in jail by the end of the year. That is your choice. Take the money and disappear. Or get nothing and go to prison. They were trapped. The trap I had set 2 years ago had finally, fully, closed. My mother grabbed the pen. Her hand was shaking so badly she could barely write. She signed. My father, his face purple with rage. Signed. Olivia, sobbing in anger. Signed. Marcus took the papers. He notarized the last page. This meeting is over, he said. Security will escort you out. They stared at the check. $20,000. It was all they had left. It was the exact price of their betrayal. I walked out. I didn't look back. The next year, Omega Biotherapeutics cured the disease. Our drug passed phase 3 trials. It was hailed as a miracle. Our stock tripled. I launched the Dr. Elena Reed Foundation. It's not just a small fund. It's a $50 million endowment. It gives full-ride scholarships to young women in STEM. Specifically, women who come from unsupportive families, women who have to fight their own parents to succeed. We provide not just tuition, but housing, legal aid, and mentors. We are the family they don't have. I never heard from Mark, Sarah, or Olivia again. The NDA was ironclad. I read in a local paper that they had moved to a different state. They had to. They were pariahs. My father was working at a hardware store. My mother was a receptionist at a motel. Olivia was a cashier at a grocery store. They had their $20,000. I had my company. I had my freedom. I had my life. Have you ever had to cut someone out of your life to protect yourself? Have you ever had to choose between your family and your future? I know how hard that choice is. Let me know your story in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button. Subscribe for more stories about overcoming betrayal. And remember, sometimes, the people who are supposed to support you are the ones you have to survive. Your value isn't determined by their belief in you. It's determined by your belief in yourself. Thank you for listening.